And, you know, what I'm really appreciating, and I actually just took a note here about this, right? Because for me, I have absolutely decided that it is time, and my whole life has been a body struggle. And I had a pre-birth experience right before I went to Egypt, where I experienced myself in my mother's womb, remembering my energy, my life, all of my past lives, where I was from before I had to come back to this plane, and how much I did not want to come here. And so that part of it explained why I never wanted to be in a body and the body struggles in the first place. And then, of course, coming into a family with lots of abuse and lots of abandonment and lots of neglect. And I remember being like 3 and having the conscious thought, oh, I don't have to be in my body. And then I felt a part of myself leave my body. So and my point in all of this is that it's not about what you're eating. It's not about working out. Everybody on the planet knows if you eat food that comes, or what's the formula that
if you eat less and move more, you'll lose weight.
The diet is simple. You're supposed to eat, eat real foods, mostly plants, not too much. Simple diet, right? Okay, everybody can do that. And we know that if we move our body, we'll lose weight. So why is it so hard? Which clearly shows it's not about that, right? So what I put a note in here in working with you, and what I'm so excited about is that I want freedom in my body, and for my body to not be a source of, or food to be a source of any more attention and any more energy than it needs to have, and like giving that power away. And I think that you have the answers to those questions, because this has been your world of work. And so I want to talk about what you just said, and how you said, and this really resonated with me, and for people listening, every part of my body when I look in the mirror that I don't like, or where I have pain, is where there is a degenerative molecules of emotion stored. So say more about that.
Yeah. So, and side note, I've been in fitness for 22 years. So this has been like my thing. Okay, but eventually we have to come back to the freedom thing, because a bunch of stuff.
But we can go there now if you want, if you're feeling like you'd rather talk about that first.
Okay. So discipline equals freedom. And we have an inner rebellion. We have an inner teenager that doesn't want to be told what to do, that thinks that they know best. So like there is like when I stopped binge eating and I did strength training 3 days a week, no matter what. If I was sick, I went on DayQuil. I was just like, I'm giving myself 6 months to get over myself, and I'm going to do this without fail. Like,
I love that. Get over the hurdle of yourself that you're creating for yourself. Brilliant.
Yeah. So it's like, if you're gonna do this program, like your bullshit's gonna come up. Like you're gonna have excuses, and you're gonna have reasons why. You're gonna feel that the process is disempowering you. But that's just like an identity that's like it's an inner teenager identity that like doesn't want to go. Like basically, like this is a power struggle. Like we have all the power within, and the exterior world is part of like the practice of learning how do you actually use your power, which is energy. So wherever we have imprints of any of our experiences culturally in society where we feel disempowered, the point of focus, which is lifestyle change to create your body, that point of focus is where you're going to think the problem is. But it's just where you're focused. So like if you have moments where you're like, no, like I had a download and my high self is telling me to like relax for a little. You're like, no, your high self's not fucking telling you to relax. You don't want to do it.
Like, the thinking it's your high self. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like you have to push yourself, because like the moments where you talk yourself out of pushing yourself, like obviously like not if you have a fever, or not if like you have a migraine. Like if you're already in it, it's too late. You just gotta like you gotta like ride it out and like be present to experience and feeling what you're feeling in that moment. But like if you just don't want to,
like
and then you're making some spiritual, you don't feel like it. What that is, it's like a person, it's like a whack-a-mole that's like about to come up, and it knows if it gets up, it's gonna be seen, and you're gonna hit it. That's going to be like an old mental and emotional identity. That is a place where you let go of your power, or like however you feel angry or upset about the process of the tools, whatever feeling that is, it's the mental emotional identity of who you were when you had that experience, and it left you feeling disempowered.
I want to interject here, because this is like what you're saying is super key and super important. And I really want people to understand it. Is like you're saying the very axiom of the obstacle is the path, and the obstacle is yourself. The obstacle is your own thinking. The obstacle is your own resistance, your own excuse making, your own habits of talking yourself out of what you really want, your habit of arguing for your smallness and your small, safe comfort zone that you already are familiar with, and you're already familiar with this misery, and you know how to deal with this misery and all of the coping mechanisms that you've used to create it. And that, you know, my spiritual teacher, one of my spiritual teachers said, the way you relate to the issue is the issue. And so I love that you're talking about this, because this isn't just about, I mean, this can apply to people who want to say they want to get in shape, but they're not doing that. But this can also apply to people who are, I want to stop drinking so much. I want to build a business. I want to do this. I want to do that. But you're not doing it because you're doing what you feel like doing, not realizing that that feeling of arguing for your own smallness and staying stuck in your habits is the opportunity for you to step into a different way of being. And so I totally understand and relate that to what you said about discipline is freedom. So you are really committing to the discipline of being in the discomfort of change.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you're going through the process and you're actually open to it from this perspective, instead of it being whatever it's been marketed as in the past, then eventually you find the habit and the lifestyle, like how you want to exercise. These are the 3 E's. That is enjoyable, effortless, and effective. So it's effortless for me to go to the gym. I miss it when I don't go. I enjoy it. There's zero resistance to get me to do anything with my body. So the thing that I have hard time is resting, because like my brain is always going and like, you know, but so what people don't understand is that, like, if you pick something to like stick within a sound framework, not something idiotic like a 1,200 calorie diet or something, but like if you have something that's sustainable just to start with, just to cut your teeth with, when you deal with the emotions that are coming up and you start to transmute them and you create you start to bring yourself into the positive spectrum of that emotion, like your pain becomes peace and purpose and pleasure, then you will start to attract the right coaches or the right people or the right book. Like your world is going to start to open up to support what your dream body is, because you're vibrationally changing your body, which means that you're changing your reality. So people are going to change what you're in, like all of it's going to change, and it's going to support you. And people don't realize that. They just see what they're giving up, that they're giving up cocktails at happy hour. They're giving up Taco Tuesday. They don't see what's on the other side, because it doesn't exist yet. It only
hasn't
exists
manifested in reality, because you're not a vibrational match for it yet, but you've created it, and that the people around you do change. Your whole environment changes. It's really interesting. And I love this, because it's, you know, the question, I think that every coach, I'm going to ask this to my clients from now on that I'm working with, because it's like, here's the answer to the question. And how are you going to answer this question? How willing are you to be in the discomfort that's going to be there to make the change that you say you want to make? Because it is going to be uncomfortable, because you're going to have to force yourself in the beginning. And, you know, I really had this visual the other day, Lauren, because I was finding myself, I don't feel like it. I could do it tomorrow. My procrastinator, Sally, who comes up, who's like, oh, I live in Tomorrowland, right? And I love it. It's the someday aisle is an aisle you never get to, because you're just growing there forever. And I just had this counter thought that came in that said, you're just going to have to do it before you feel like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Totally.